Hi, everyone, and welcome to our third video of our MuleSoft for Agentforce MuleSoft Ambassador video series. Today, I am really excited to be joined by Edgar. He has been a MuleSoft ambassador for a number of years now. I'm sure you've seen him writing blogs, sharing his content on LinkedIn and X and any other platform you can find him. So welcome, Edgar. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, that'd be great.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Yeah, and thank you for inviting me to speak here. Hi, everyone. My name is Edgar Moran. I'm an integration engineer at Cisco Meraki, and I've been working with the MuleSoft ecosystem around 7 years now. So yeah, you can find a lot of my blog posts, as Sabrina mentioned. And yeah, I'm actively sharing stuff on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, you have done so many innovative things with MuleSoft, which is why I'm really excited to have you on our little mini series today, because we know that the rage is all about Agentforce and the future of MuleSoft and Agentforce working together. What really excites you about this future? And if you see any potential future use cases that you would love to be a part of in the future?
Yeah, I mean, in the very end, I think this year, or the beginning of this year, everybody's been talking about agents, overall AI, not just Agentforce. I mean, Agentforce just as a product from Salesforce. But then what probably makes me more excited is about how it's going to integrate with the MuleSoft part, right? So we already are seeing a lot of enablement on the Mac project, for example. So we are able to kind of use some of those connectors. And just for myself, is just how we are going to interact between agents, basically, in MuleSoft, right? So how MuleSoft is going to start being a kind of main middleware for all the transactional data, LLMS connections and stuff like that. So in the very end, I think it's going to start creating a bunch of new capabilities for the companies, not just for the marketing side of things or support part of things, but also internally on the company. So I think there might be a lot of work there or room just for start building a lot of things on top of the platform. So yeah.
So the other part that I would love to get your perspective on, Edgar, because you talk about what excited you and what you're looking forward to, is what are some of these future use cases that you could see implementing with MuleSoft and Agentforce?
Yeah, sure. So because it's kind of new, we're still kind of figuring the best use cases in the company. But we already, because we saw Mac project, we are already doing a little POCs in terms of how we can grab information from and integrating that information between systems that we have internally. Like, for example, WebEx. WebEx is one of the platforms that many companies uses for just communication, just like a Slack or any other like Teams, for example. But then how we can leverage the Mac project here, right? Like how we can connect to an internal LLM and basically just ask questions and grab information from our internal system. So I think that is going to be interesting. And also because kind of give us that dynamic way to do it. I think there's a lot of potential. Right now it's just, thinking about use cases like, for example, how we can schedule meetings with someone, how I can get data from a specific person and the information that lives around them, for example. That's our initial thoughts. We're still brainstorming a lot. There's a lot of things that we are thinking about. And there's a lot of workshops that we are attending just to kind of see what else we can do. So, and again, it seems like there's a lot of potential. So, but for now, I think we want to start super small and then continue growing, right? Like I just creating, putting more stuff on top of whatever we build. And because here at Cisco is super big, the company, definitely there will be more people that are interested on putting hands on that. So.
Yes, I love that. And I think that what you're really talking about here too, as well, as there's no limitation for future use cases with MuleSoft and Agentforce and what companies and individuals can look for to innovate. So this leads me into my next question, which is if you could build any agent with Agentforce and MuleSoft, what would it be and why?
Personally, I think something about more on the technical side, right? Like maybe a little agent that is helping me build an integration and is trying kind of fixing my stuff on the fly, right? That will be a pretty cool thing because we can imagine like a little helper just on the side. Just I can imagine like, for example, the Microsoft Clipper like is giving you tips and stuff like that. So you're building something and kind of give you best practices and say, hey, maybe this can be done better. That is personally, and I think that's something for kind of the engineers or people that is working on these platforms might help. But on the business side of things, if we think about companies, probably just like people is always asking for certain information on the CRM and Salesforce, for example. We want to know about a lead. I mean, I don't know, an account or an opportunity. We want to know how much products we are selling to someone, and try to get those recommendations, right? So right now there's a lot of recommendation tools that allow us to get that information, but I think like a little agent too, like is a little companion there that is giving you that information and just specifically saying, okay, this is the next step with this record with this lead. It would be great, just like suggesting, let's make a call, let's draft this email. I prepared this stuff for you, and this documentation, even for example, right? So I think that'll be great, and that will solve a lot of the time for the big companies as well. So yeah.
I want to go back to your suggestion for the more technical side. I think you bring up a really good point we haven't heard yet in this series about developer efficiency and how agents can help with developer efficiency. Do you mind diving into a little bit of like what your future vision would be for how agents and developers can really work together to improve this efficiency?
Yeah, so, and then we are getting a bunch of tools around AI, right? Like we have Copilot, for example, when we are writing code in some languages, for example, and we have Anypoint Code Builder, for example. So it's on top of VS Code. So now there's another really good integration point for us, right? Like if we're able to implement this little agent or this little Copilot for us, not just as the current Copilot, but just a little helper there is you are writing on the fly. It doesn't have to do your work, but maybe you are just writing your flows. You are I don't know, creating, I'm going to say something like really simple, like for example looping through some data, right? And then the helper can give you some suggestions, like you can do it this other way, it's going to be more efficient, and give you some metrics, like it's going to improve, I don't know, 80% of your speed transaction in this information, for example. Or you are missing something, like you created some variables in your code, but you are not using them, so remove them, for example. Things like that. So something that allows us to create more clean code. As an engineer, we tend to pass over projects to someone else, so it's going to be great if the person that is giving me that project already is giving me that information, right? So there's comments, there's a structure, for example, and stuff like that. So I think that will be great. And then probably just a little help too. Like you can say, I'm running a data with transformation. It's like, I forgot the function that I need to use here. Like, what function should I use here for, I don't know, looping through this data, or maybe just transforming this information. Boom, there you go. This is the info that you had. So yeah, something like that'd be super cool. And just because it's going to allow us to speed up our development process, and make everything more, under the best practices from MuleSoft, basically.
Yeah, I love that. And it kind of also leads into my next question, which, with MuleSoft, we always talk about API-led connectivity, helping developers with reuse. And now with agents coming in, now we're looking at agentic architecture. So what are your thoughts on this future of agentic architecture, and how do you see it working with API-led connectivity?
So we already have the API-led in place, and it's a really great pattern, or in a way to separate our projects and applications. The way that we communicate this information is great. And I feel like having agents in this case, or creating just now a agent infrastructure, is more like including one little thing more in our layers. In the end, it doesn't change what you got. I mean, you already have been working for years in your API connectivity strategy. So you have a bunch of system APIs, process APIs. And I think this agent process or application might fall only as part of one of your layers, right? It might be just in your process layer. And because the way that I see it is just little agents connecting to different sources or LLMs. So in the end is that you have your LLMs system API, for example, and you're connecting to OpenAI, you're connecting to Anthropic or any other and then you are just grabbing the data, transforming, and giving the instructions to the agent. So I think now, more than technically how it's going to be set up, I think it's just how we are going to start trying to speak with these agents. It's like what instructions I need to give them. Like I need to be very specific, and is where all the prompting happens now. Like you have to think about what is the right way to ask, what is the tone that I need to use, what is everything, right? And then other than that, it's just looping and iterating a lot of times just to get the information that you need. So, but in the end, in terms of your layers, is going to work. In the end, you have your agent is going to be plugged in one of your layers, process or in your system layer, and that's all. It doesn't have to change anything else. So it's just there. And if you've been applying this in your company, it's going to be easier for everyone just to plug this new component. Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. And I know that we're going to see way more content from you about this in the future as well. But I just wanted to say thank you so much, Edgar, for sharing your futuristic ideals and opinions with us on the future of MuleSoft and Agentforce. We appreciate you being here today. For those who are joining us for this video, you can find Edgar on LinkedIn. We'll make sure to tag him in the caption as well. And be sure to check out his blogs on Medium, as well as on his own blog site, which I will link as well in the caption. But thank you so much, Edgar, for joining us today.
Thank you, Sabrina.